My name is Victoria, and I'm a product specialist at CritUp for Aircraft, and I'll guide you through today's presentation. So let's begin with the overview of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to start with a little bit of introduction about CETA and CETA for Aircraft, what we do and who we are. Then we're going to jump into what is airline digitalization to cover it up and bring you all up to speed of what exactly we're talking to here and in what context we would like to discuss this. And then we're going to talk about cabin crew digitalization, which is actually a spin of what we specialize at CETA for Aircraft. And then we're going to talk about how we can help you to address the cabin crew digitalization and what can we offer for you to work together with. And then we're going to bring you up to speed of what is coming next. So as we discussed, let's start with the CETA and CETA for Aircraft and what we do. So as you can see, CETA divides in 3 domains of our expertise. So we cover CETA at borders, CETA at airports, and CETA for aircraft. And what we're trying to do here is to make the air travel more connected, seamless, efficient, safe, and more sustainable. In other words, we provide one of the broadest portfolios of innovation, technology solutions, services, and infrastructure for a single supplier, us, which is all secured and guaranteed by our deep knowledge of the industry, its stakeholders, and the process through years and years of experience. And today's discussion is about CETA for Aircraft. This is where myself and Aina are coming from to you today. So let's have a look what CETA for Aircraft is in a summary. So in summary, we have over 400 customers covering world's airlines and ATI leaders. We're covering over 18,000 aircraft, providing the data link services. We also have over 90 air navigation service providers as our customers. And we delivered overall over 5 million kilobytes of acres data exchanges every single day. So this is the summary of what we do, but we can dive in even more deeper to see the details of our CETA for Aircraft. So you can see that our CETA for Aircraft portfolio is designed actually to take you on a connected aircraft digital transformation journey. So we're providing nose-to-tail capabilities to guide you step by step and cover all of your digitalization needs. So we have 3 portfolios. We have Digital Day of Operation portfolio, where we're covering airline digital transformation for optimized new generation flight operations. We have the Cabin Connectivity Services portfolio, where we're offering best-in-class high-speed connectivity. And finally, we've got a Unified Aircraft Communication portfolio, where we deliver state-of-the-art aircraft and ATC communication ecosystems. However, today we're going to be focusing on Digital Day of Operation portfolio. This is where I'm coming from as a product specialist as well. So now let's have a look even more deeper into the Digital Day of Operations and what we have to offer. So a Digital Day of Operations, we have pillars, the pillars of our portfolio. This is what we're trying to aim to deliver to our customers. So first of all, we deliver operational excellence with the integrated crew and dispatch support. We also deliver the digitalization, which is transformed via the aircraft data management. And then we deliver the sustainability pillar, creating a more positive impact overall of the operations. And then we're trying to transform the ways of working with the optimized communication and collaboration tools. And then also we offer the pillar of diversified offering, which you can use to go beyond the current commercial air transport offering. In a nutshell, we have 150 airlines, we have 10 OEMs, we cover 8,000 aircraft, and we also have 10,000 users for all of our apps. To summarize our portfolio in one sentence, what we do is our airline application suite, the digital day of operations, digitally transforms flight operations at takeoff, in-flight, and landing. So covering all the stages of the flight. We do it every day in every possible way for you. Let's go into the next topic of today's discussion, which is airline digitalization. And we just wanted to summarize that, to have a look what is happening now, what it means today, what are the key areas of digitalization. We wanted to highlight why it fails, and we wanted to show you how to succeed as well. So let's have a look into the summary of airline digitalization. So first and foremost, it's that airline digitalization is a need, not a want anymore. And the reason for that is that it helps you to be on the same page with the customers and current state of the technology penetration within the society. And it helps you to triple your passenger retention rate. It also is a key for staying competitive, and it's a key to your long-term success. And the data that helps you to summarize that is that digitalization reduces 8 to 10% of the costs, and it uplifts the revenue by 5 to 10%, which are both critical to competitiveness and the long-term success. However, there are some points that need to be highlighted as well. Airline digitalization is complex, and airline digitalization is resource consuming. And we know that from the data that says that 70% of all large-scale airline digitalization transformation programs sleep, get stuck, or simply fail. So as you can see in the summary, that it's key to your long-term success overall, that you have to implement it, but at the same time, it's quite complex and resource-consuming. But it seems to be that you need to find a way to still do that, avoiding the complexity and resource consumption. So let's see at why is it complex? What brings so much complexity into airline digitalization? So as we mentioned before, there are some areas that you need to look at when you consider to digitalize your airline. So there is a customer experience, there is a network and revenue area, there are airline operations area, and finally there is enterprise and back office. And you need to look at every single area and digitalize it to undergo the full digitalization process. But once you start to look into one area, you quickly realize that there are some sub areas. And for every single category, there are layers and layers of additional areas of digitalization. And hence the complexity of the whole issue is that you need to cover everything to make sure that your airline undergone the digital transformation journey. So why is it fail? I mean, we know that it's complex, but what exactly is the reason of not being able to tackle this complexity well? So the reasons are that you have wrong digitalization priorities. Looking at these areas, you obviously think that, oh, where to start? And by starting at the wrong place, you set yourself into failure. Other reason is that the lack of support from the management. It's hard to get the management to back up a certain initiative when there is a different agenda. The third reason is that there are barriers in cross-functional collaboration, that the communication between all of these 4 areas are not sufficient enough to sustain the transformation of the whole airline. And finally, it's the fail to promote digital talent. We understand that digitalization requires your people to understand how it works, what does it mean to you, and failure to promote it sets yourself on the wrong path. However, it's not as bad as you might think so. There are 3 critical points that you need to consider every time you approach your airline digitalization. And you have to keep that in mind since the start to the end. So how to succeed? First of all, you need to fix straightforward points. So you need to focus on the basic needs of your airline, what you need to fix today. Then you need to implement the tested solutions. and use them well. And you have to make sure that you don't reinvent the wheel, because this is where you're going to fail once again. And you need to make sure that you use the maximum of your available resources, that you promote that talent that you already have, making sure that it's not complex and it's not resource consumption. It doesn't exceed that. So these 3 points need to be considered throughout all of your digitalization journey. So it's not just one process. It's a continued process. It's a line that you move along with. And you have different points of your digital journey. So you have the starting point, you have the practicing point, and the well-established point. And the 3 key factors to success, you need to consider them throughout all of your journey at every single stage. But most importantly, you need to consider it at the start of your journey. So at the start, you need to really have a look of what are your priorities. Understand the impact of your priorities, understand the personas, the key personas of your digital transformation journey, and then you need to find a good partner. While you're practicing, you need to still keep in mind that the three points on the top, but you need to go deeper. So you need to think about the restructuring for maximum efficiency. You need to keep expanding your digital penetration within your organization. You need to prepare for operational changes. And you need to actively promote the communication, because as we remember, the failure with the cross-functional communication is the failure for all of the digital transformation journey. And when you're well established, you still need to keep in mind all of these 3 key areas of the success, all these points that are on top. But you need to start adopting innovation. You need to start working in digital systems, and you finally need to close all of the gaps. So today, to start the journey together with you, we wanted to bring you at the start of the digital journey and see what it means to understand priorities, impact, and personas. So let's have a little bit of a close up into that area of the starting where we start. So what are your priorities? And going back to the few slides ago, the priorities are the same. So you still have the same priorities. You have to choose between customer experience, network and revenue, airline operation, enterprise and back office. You need to understand what is crucial to you today and going forward. You need to also understand the impact and the impact that matters to you today. So what can it be? It can be a brand reputation, could be the revenue increase, it could be efficiency and cost, or it could be visibility. And then you need to see the personas, and the personas are your pilots, your cabin crew, your dispatch, or all the admin stuff. So when we look at it, yet again, it doesn't really resolve anything. And what it asks you is actually, is it a compromise? Approaching it from this point looks like when you're going to choose airline operations, then you're going to focus on efficiency and costs, and you're going to focus on one user for that particular cause that you're pursuing. So is it actually a compromise? Well, today we're here to tell you that it's not really. We wanted to highlight that we're missing the key part to overall airline digitalization, and it is the digitalization of the cabin crew. And now we have to look at why digitalization of the cabin crew is so important to overall airline digitalization. And to see that, we just wanted to highlight how important cabin crew is in every single area of airline digitalization. So when it comes to customer experience, cabin crew actually drives that. When it comes to network and revenue, cabin crew is the key to that. It's the key link that holds it together. When it comes to airline operation, the cabin crew is foundation for your airline. And finally, when it comes to enterprise and back office, the cabin crew actually generates the insight for that. So as you can see, choosing the cabin crew as someone you would go to digitalize, you're not compromising or anything. You're addressing all of your priorities. You're choosing all of the impacts, and you're choosing the persona that does you the most out of the solution. So in the summary, the digitalization of the cabin crew brings positive impact to your organization and brings amazing transformational changes across all the areas of your operations. So in this graph, you can see that digitalizing cabin crew will impact all the key areas. And now let's have a look at how it actually achieved. So, for example, for customer experience, the digitalization of the cabin crew brings you data on passengers' insights, and it will be available at any time and anywhere. And it's going to enable the delivery of personalized and outstanding service, taking your brand reputation to the next level. And it also changes the network and revenue. So digitalized cabin crew inflight workflows, they unlock the data-driven targeted sales. So your cabin crew is equipped with the most relevant information to secure the high volume of sales, which gives you the boost to your overall ancillary revenue. In airline operations, the digital-enabled cabin crew actually reduces your costs. And it reduces the cost across all of your operations, saving valuable time of admin, and then also increasing everyone's efficiency and maximizing the use of all of your available resources. And finally, for the enterprise and back office, the digital in-flight reporting delivers full transparency and visibility and unlocks that effortless decision making that you need to, providing this amazing visibility. So as we can see with the digital cabin crew, we're achieving the increase of your brand reputation, we're achieving the higher revenue, we're making the most out of the efficiency and minimizing the costs, and we're providing this amazing visibility and transparency. So covering the cabin crew and providing the digital solution for cabin crew takes you to all of the areas of your operations, bringing you value almost immediately as you implement it. So going back to our question, is airline digitalization a compromise? No, when you choose to digitalize cabin crew. So let's have a look now what CritUp aircraft's got to offer for that, for the cabin crew digitalization. So what we've got is a tool called CritUp. This is the iPad application, and it digitally transforms all of your daily cabin crew operations. It is a flexible all-in-one application, and it unlocks the highest level of resource optimization, brings you and delivers you ultimate cost savings. It also delivers the innovative way to generate in-flight revenue. And it also brings the maximum of passenger satisfaction. This is the description of the product. Now let's have a look at the components of the product. So we have three main components. We have the CritUp, which is the application. We also have the administration portal, which will go to your back office. And we also have a server to connect the two. What we also have is the 4 quarterly releases. We stay in agile and bringing the new features to you as we go along with looking at the market, looking at your needs, and developing the features that are relevant to today conversations. It's your solution. It will be tailored to your needs. So what we offer is the gradual transformation. We offer targeted digitalization of the areas that matter to you. We open the conversation to co-creation and co-development, and we make sure that we always think about your needs. Today we have over 8,000 users for our CritUp application, and we also have covered all of the 4 digitalization areas with our no compromise solution. So we increase in the customer experience, we increase in the revenue generation, we're maximizing the cost savings and maximizing the efficiency, and we're providing the visibility and transparency that you so much need. And now let's have a look how the two merge together. So when we talk about the CritUp and digitalization journey, let's see what is the impact when we bring these two together. So first of all, you're going to start at any stage that you feel comfortable at. We understand that every airline is a different stage of airline digitalization, and with the CritUp, you can choose the one that you feel most comfortable with. And then you choose your own pace. You're going to tell us how you want to progress and where you want to be at a certain time, and we're going to make sure that you're going to be there and you're going to achieve all of your goals. Then going along after the start, As we mentioned, we're making your journey personal, making sure that we cover your needs. And you tell us what are your priorities for the digitalization, and we're going to make sure that we're going to cover that. Then you'll see immediate cost reductions immediately after implementation, taking all of that cost down for you with the CritUp. And then we also transform the in-flight passenger experience immediately. We're bringing all the relevant information for the cabin crew with digitalization and accessibility. Then finally, we're going to reach the point where we're going to deliver the total cabin crew digitalization and transformation, making sure that all of the areas are covered and functioning to their maximum capacity. And finally, we're going to secure that brand image of innovative, modern airline. And you're going to present yourself at the end of your digitalization journey as a modern, future-proof airline capable to withstand any challenges. So this was the journey that we would like you to have with you, the digitalization journey that we can have with the CritUp and together. We truly believe in a good partnership and good co-development. And now it's the time for us to go on the CritUp journey. And today we're going to be traveling with Frederick. We're going to be taking the flight with the CritUp and looking at his journey and his experience with the CritUp. Let me start this. So today on the 14th of February, we have a domestic flight flying from Montreal in the afternoon and arriving in St. John. St. John is a little Canadian town in the next to the Atlantic Ocean. And we're going to have a few personas today with us. As we mentioned, we'll have the Frederick, who is the senior cabin crew. We'll have Louise, who is a crew. And we'll also have a look at Mia and her day with the CritUp as well. And Mia is our admin. So let's move on to the Montreal. So we are preparing to take off. Frederick is just right before the flight, and he's accessing CritUp for different reasons. So first of all, CritUp has got access to all of the passengers' information, the boarding details. So Frederick goes into that to make sure that he's got the details of the passengers. So he wants to know how many passengers have been booked, how many checked in, how many have been boarded. He also wants to see how many VIP passengers are there and the keys. And Frederick really needs to know that to make sure that his in-flight service will go smoothly today and that all of the passengers' needs will be covered. Then Frederick needs to have a look at the crew and the positioning. He wants to make sure that all of the crew is present, and he wants to position the crew to achieve the best of the in-flight service. So he does that. And finally, just before he needs to do some announcements, he goes into CritUp and checks the pre-departure announcement. There have been some few updates, but he's got access to the most recent and most relevant passengers announcement for this flight, delivering information to passengers that they need to know. Great, and it seems that Frederick is ready to fly. And let's jump into the cruise. So we've been flying for some time now, and Frederick's and other crew members are doing the in-flight service. And as they were doing their job, they were approached by one of the passengers. And one of the passengers has been complaining about the broken in-flight entertainment system they couldn't access. So what Frederick does, he accesses the CritUp and goes in to check if there are any other seats available for that passenger. Moving the passenger will ensure the great customer satisfaction. So Frederick takes the CritUp and checks for available seats, successfully moving the passenger to a better suited place with the working in-flight entertainment system. Then Frederick also remembers that he needs to do some assessment for the Louise, because this is the week for the assessments. So Frederick approaches Louise with the CritUp and he accesses the crew assessment form. He quickly runs the assessment and Louise successfully completes that. So that was some of the things that Frederick could have done with the CritUp during the in-flight. And now let's move into post-flight. So we have successfully landed at St. John, and Frederick takes CritUp to fill in the flight report form. So we know that normally it would take Frederick around 10 to 15 minutes to complete the paper form, but with CritUp, with the pre-filled details, it actually takes around 2 minutes to finalize the report and send it over to synchronize with the server. Frederick successfully does that and submits the report. He also is going to fly with the crew back to Montreal on the same aircraft, and he accesses the flight back, and he sees that there were some crew alerts for the flight back to Montreal. What it means is that there's been some changes and information needed to be delivered to the crew. So for this particular flight, he just received the attention for the new COVID-19 safety measures. So Frederick acknowledges that and passes the information for the rest of the crew, prepared to be flown back to Montreal. Finally, we're going to have a look at Mia, who is the admin, and we are now in the next day. So what Mia needs to do today, she needs to access the information about the crew assessment and how Louise did in flight. So she goes into administration portal and she pulls out the data for the Louise that was synchronized in flight and was immediately available for Mia to see. She just needs to make sure that Louise did score well on that crew assessment. What Mia needs to do as well, she needs to update some manuals. So she goes into the flight details and says that some of the aircraft manuals have been outdated for some time. So she quickly selects the flights that she needs to deliver new manuals and updates manuals within a minute. And then Mia also had a quick message saying that she needs to remind cabin crew to continue to complete assessments. So she accesses selected flights to deliver a quick message to all of the cabin crew saying that they need to continue to do crew assessments for the rest of this week. So this was the day of the Frederick, and this was the day of Mia as well. And as we can see, they used the CritUp well, and what they've achieved is actually incredible situational awareness and visibility. We can see the benefits of enhancing the passenger experience. We also saw the reduced flight administration and the costs that are attached to it. We increased everybody's efficiency. We enable cross-functional digitalization, enabling that communication between the departments. And we also secured the sustainable operations, consuming less paper that we needed. So let us go back to the presentation now. So thank you, Frederick, and all of the other crew and admin that participated in our journey with the CritUp. And now let's have a look at why it is important to digitalize cabin crew now. So if we talk in the context of today and what is happening today, we see that we need to provide safer airline operations. And CritUp does that for you perfectly. So we send the last-minute cabin crew updates to inform about any changes, making sure that cabin crews get the most awareness. We also provide the alerts on cabin crew about the special passengers or passengers with special needs. So you know who needs extra attention and extra care. And then we also provide easy relocation if the situation arises, making sure that all of the passengers and cabin crew on board will feel safe and sound. Another point that we haven't mentioned, but we can consider with the CritUp is the touchless handovers between crew members. The digitalization provides you that opportunity. Also, the opportunity for remote administration. So if you remember Mia can be located anywhere in the world to easily and safely manage the flights. And then we also deliver the contactless payment acceptance. Another reason why you need to consider cabin crew digitalization now is that it provides sustainable airline operations. And it drastically cuts the paper consumption and paper use. It reduces your fuel burn with lighter aircraft. You won't believe how heavy the paper is. It contributes to the forest and land preservation and protection. And it also minimizes the overall CO2 emission from that reduction of paper use and reduction of the fuel burn. And just to put in the context, the CritUp eliminated 41 million kilograms of CO2 in 2019 with all of our customers. Another reason why I consider cabin crew digitalization now is the cost effectiveness of the airline operations. So the paper operations are expensive, and the paperless airline operations are the key to reducing that cost. So you're going to reduce the cost of the labor expenses, making sure that everybody is working efficiently. You're reducing the paper expense of themselves, the physical resources that you need to run your paper operations. You're reducing the fuel expenses by making your aircraft lighter, taking that paper off your board. And then you're reducing the storage expenses. You won't need to store all of that paper that takes so much space, and linking it back to the remote administration. And in a context with the CritUp has eliminated 1 million paper forms in 2019.